All right, let me do a quick sound check. See if you guys can hear me. All right, let me do a quick sound check. Oh, let's mute that. Okay, so big delay, but you can hear me. Thanks. We get started in just a minute. All right, this was not really planned, so it's impromptu. Let's see. Almost ready to get started here. All right. How's everybody doing? Grilled some steaks, and now I'm ready to make the watch list for tomorrow. So bear with me. I'm going to do this live. I also tweeted this as happy hour, try to get some people in here, but let's get started. All right. So what I always do, and by the way, it wasn't a deceptive tweet. Had some steaks on the grill, and I am having a happy hour now. So anyway, hope some of you are too. All right. So to get started, what I always do is I start with the gap playlist from this morning, which I created before the opening bell, stocks that were gapping. And then I also look at the watch list that I had for today. and then any symbols that I put in my notes for tonight's video. There you go. Glad to know I'm not the only one. All right, so let's start with the gap playlist from this morning. I'll just go through that. CRON, and I'm just walking you guys through how I build my watch list for the next day. And this one absolutely deserves to be watched because it's one of those crazy pot stocks. Have this candle, which was yesterday. It ends up ripping. I actually called this long right over here. I shouldn't take credit for this. Wayne put the idea out in chat. Big seller at 1250, and when I go to 15-minute candles, look at this. Hit 1250 the other day after the gap up, and then again today, and then again today. So the 1250 break was very significant. Big seller there. Called it a 1251 with a 1240 stop. So 11 cents risk. This isn't huge. 1251, it went to 1279, but still a nice late day trade, right? Anyway, you might have some shorts in trouble here, even after this huge move. So it goes on watch, but the pot stocks are absolutely crowded right now. By the way, if you're a chat room member or you're not a chat room member, if you have any questions from anything you've ever heard me say in any of my videos or anything you heard me say in chat today, it's a good time to ask them. I'm relaxed. I'm not crabby. All right, so let's keep going. IGC is another one of those crazy pot stocks. Again, should probably be on watch. It's just so extended. I mean, it's not even really trading at 195 right now. I'll leave this one off. Cron is CRON is enough as far as that way I have one pot stock on watch. OPNT from the gap playlist this morning. I'm not going to do anything with that. IZEA, I talked about this in chat today. I said I was considering putting it on my DNT list, which stands for do not trade. I'm switching it over to my FU list. I hate this stock. Hate it. Having said that, it's a kind of an interesting chart setup over this kind of little, I don't know if you want to call it, to the gap up, it's kind of flagging, but I'm not doing anything with it. What is it, Tokyo? I'm going to watch SPHS too. I actually had a decent trade in this one today. All right, so a Tokyo trade. The name of a Tokyo was born out of a member in our chat room years ago, right? I thought the guy was crazy. His chat room nickname was Tokyo PUA, and PUA stood for Pickup Artist. And he literally claimed, what's that movie with Will Smith where he teaches guys to pick up women? This guy literally claimed that that's what he was. Pickup artist. And I have no idea. I'm not disputing it either. He may have been, right? Anyway, so that was his chat room nickname that he chose. And he used to just jump in stuff that was getting volume, right? News would come out on something that's getting volume, and he would just jump in it. And I thought he was nuts. And so I put pen to paper years later and decided, you know what, some of these things just keep going. And so I put a bunch of rules in place for a Tokyo, what I affectionately named a Tokyo play, which is something that's getting volume, but we've got several rules in place. That's the only way I'll take them is if they meet those parameters, and then I'll call it as a Tokyo. It's funny, James. So keep that in mind. There are absolutely rules in place, right? And one of them is you see volume coming in, can't be hitting new highs for the day. It has to still be below its earlier high of day. Otherwise, you're, no matter what the stock you're chasing. All right, so anyway, SPHS, I'm going to put that on watch for tomorrow because, let me get this out of the way, because it had big volume. Didn't close near its highs. It would be much more interesting if it did. But still, big volume and closed nicely above its open. We'll see if we get a red to green or something like that in that one tomorrow. Okay, GERN. It's a little bit away from the moving averages, but I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna put it on watch. Putting it in my notes as I'm talking. GERN, and the reason is you had a big spike here 4 sessions ago on 40 million shares, went up to 581, right? Then a red day, called a great trade in it yesterday. What, like 506 or something, 499 stop, and it went to 574. Then today we get an inside day. So over today's high, and I'm going to put that in my notes, 561 breaks today's high. And then you've got yesterday's high just above, 576 would be another catalyst. You know, if you've watched my videos at all, you know I like stacked catalysts. So over today's high, 561, then you've got another domino to fall at 576, and then just to the left, 582. With a very clean stacked catalyst scenario, right? Thank you, James. I appreciate that. All right, so that's a fairly clean setup. And the beauty of having a set of rules in place is it may never trigger, and then we don't get involved, right? Wayne always says, no trigger, no trade. LEJU, that was on the gap playlist today, and you kind of have a topping tail. You had the July highs that had gapped up, and it was already really extended. So that one definitely I'm not interested in tomorrow. AFMD, kind of the same thing. It's way ahead of itself. TROV, nothing there. And then WPRT. So that is my entire gap playlist today. WPRT might be worth watching. You know, closed well off its lows, but also well off its highs. You got a break of today's open would be through 360 tomorrow. I don't know. It's not a great trader. I'm going to leave that one off too. My lists have actually been bigger than I've wanted them to be lately. Eric, I'm jealous. You're in a way better spot than I am. Okay, so then I go to the watch list I had going into tomorrow and look at all of those. So CHFS, I haven't even started. Keep in mind, I haven't even started looking for, wow, that's weird. Oh, there it is. Haven't even started looking for my overnight scans yet, right? Because I always want to start with the list that I've already been, stocks I've already been watching. That makes sense? What do I think of TLRY? Well, I don't know. It's impressive, right? It's another pot stock. It's way ahead of itself. You can see that it gapped up today. Sellers jumped all over it, and it ends up closing above its open. I mean, it's just stupid strong. I always look for an edge in a stock, and what's your edge on something that's just straight up? So I honestly, I have no opinion. I don't like these now. They're getting crowded. The algos are kind of jumping in them, and I would love to see these pot stocks come in for about 3 or 4 days, and then they would be my number one watch again. But right now, I can't get on board. I'm not telling you they're not going higher because, you know, what do they say? The market can remain irrational longer than you can remain solvent. So I'm not fighting it. I'm not trying to short it. But at the same time, I can't get myself to chase something that's that far up. Does that make sense? So CHFS, I don't know. It had this pop back here, and it's kind of flagging. I certainly kind of like it over this flag. For now, I'm putting that on my watch list, but I can't say I love it. UAVS just was getting pumped today. I don't know. Not even 500,000 shares. It is kind of breaking out of a range, but it's been up 3 days in a row. I'm going to leave it alone for now. There's nothing really compelling about it. GEVO, every time it gets a pop, it gets slapped right back down. I don't know. Keep it on a chart maybe, but I'm not going to put it on my list. Certainly interesting over yesterday's high over 420, but I don't like the action I'm seeing in it, so I'm going to leave it alone for now. IDRA is interesting. It topped out back here on big volume, 1025. Then over here, you kind of have a cup and handle going on, right? You hit 1021, 1018, and today 1019. So, you know, over this handle, I think it's worth watching. I am gonna go ahead and put this on the watch list. Right, PTIE. Hold on, drink a beer. I'm gonna have some beer. All right. Let's see. PTI. I don't know. Nothing. I'm gonna leave it alone. Watch it for a few days. Nothing really too exciting. NEPT, another pod stock. Again, extended, just straight up, right? I'm not telling you these aren't going higher. I'm telling you as a day trader, I just can't get excited about them right now. Right? I'd love to see a few day pullback. So until then, I'm just gonna leave them alone. That's NEPT, CRON. I already talked about that one. And I did put that. That's kind of my pod stock pick for tomorrow. But it only means I'm going to have it on watch, right? Strong chance I won't trade it at all. You know, and keep in mind while you watch this, the market has been just stupid thin. It's August. I would, again, I don't keep stats. I don't study stats really as far as volume in the overall market, but if I had to guess, this might be one of the lower volume weeks of the year. This August has been incredibly low. Now, keep in mind, August of 2016, I made over $50,000, and I don't front run and get people to chase crap like some of these other guys do. I made 50,000 legitimate dollars because trading was so good, right? In 1 month. This August is not that August. It is dead, even though the market, and I'll show you the SPY here, and then I'll go back to RWLK. Even though the market is just breaking out, right? There's no volume, and individual names aren't really getting crazy follow through. And so, you know, this August is nothing like that August, and so I'm just grinding and higher, right? I'm sitting at highs for the year right now, but I'm not killing it like I was in 2016. And there's no volume. That August, it was just crazy. Everything was ripping. So, you know, understand the macro environment. And that's what right now we're in. Even though the market, everyone's 401k is hitting new highs. As far as day trading goes and the stuff that I like, the lower price stocks, they're not great to trade. I'm not seeing a lot of huge, great setups, but I'm also encouraged because in this low volume August, I'm still finding nice setups and nice trades, but nothing like a couple years ago. Having said that, I think once we get through the holiday, 3-day weekend, this weekend coming up, and maybe a low volume 4-day week next week, I think volume's going to come back, and I think we're going to see some nice trades. All right. Yeah, I don't disagree, Logan. But just understand that it's really, really dead out there right now, all right? Even though the market's hitting new highs. So anyway, let's see where I was. Let's see. IDRA. I'll go back to that real quick. I think it's interesting over this kind of little, 3-week cup and handle that's forming. PTIE. I already talked about that one. Let's see. NEPT. Talked about that one. Cron. Okay. That's where I was. RWLK. Again, when you start watching a stock because you kind of become interested in it, and it doesn't give you a trade, and it doesn't give you a trade, and like 4 or 5 days in a row, it doesn't give you a trade. You almost have no choice but to keep it on watch, because now I'm at the point where I feel like if I look away, then it's going to rip, right? So even though I don't love this, I mean, today it traded 230,000 shares. I got to keep it on watch because I've been watching it for like a week straight, right? So, you could argue you've got a high on big volume back here, which is 135, then a nice lower high at 120, and then another lower high at 108, right? And then since then, you can see the 200-day right there. Since then, it's been just tagging along sideways. So if we get up to 110-ish on some volume, I think we might maybe challenge this and challenge this. So I have no choice but to keep RWLK on watch. Yeah, it doesn't cost us anything. Exactly, Rob. Doesn't cost anything to keep it on a chart. So let's keep going here. GERN. Like I already talked about that. Yeah, I already talked about that one too. I'm going to keep that on the chart. Already talked about the numbers on that one. Bear with me. SSC. Kind of interested in this one, just because of the crazy action, right? You had the gap up, the sell-off, and it's very unusual for this gap up and sell-off to go rip to new highs like this. And now you're 3 days lower again on steadily declining volume, bottoming tail today. So I actually mentioned this one in chat today. If you were there, over 4, I said, but it's getting late. This might be worth taking through 4 with the high of day just above. There was a seller at 4. It didn't do much, but you wouldn't have got hurt taking it through 4. And it never did break the earlier high. So I am going to put SSC on long watch. All right, I'm going to put that on long watch for tomorrow. You had the big move. And then what's interesting to me, that one thing I look at that a lot of people don't kind of think to look at is after this big move, I'll pan out a little bit more here. Right, so there was the gap up, sell off, and the next thing you know, it's hitting new highs, right? So let me zoom in a little bit now. So it rips this day. The very next day, and I'm showing you 15-minute candles. The very next day, it never takes out its opening high, right? There's the 15-minute high. The very next day, there's the 15-minute high. And then today, there's the 15-minute high. None of these 3 days, now you're 3 days in a row, you never broke out in the afternoon. So if I had my choice, I would like this to trade in a somewhat narrow range and then get an afternoon breakout tomorrow. Now, having said that, that's not the only scenario that I would look for, but that's an interesting setup. So I'm certainly on bounce watch for tomorrow. All right, SSC. Go back to the daily. And then lastly on the watch list, I have AFMD. And this is all from last night's watch list. So, that's kind of got that shooting star look. It's way ahead of the moving averages. I'm certainly, I think it should be on a chart. So I'm putting on one of my monitors. I have 6 monitors. So I'm putting on one of my monitors that I can keep an eye on it, but I don't think it deserves to be on the watch list because I feel like it needs to come in, right? So far, that's what I have on watch for tomorrow. So then I've got a few in my notes, and I'll share those with you. If I see something during the day that I say, hey, I want to keep an eye on this one, I write it down on my notepad, right? So DDD, I'm not in love with this one. Hold on. I don't know. I don't love this. I put it in my notes during the day, and I probably put it in my notes, when it looked like this. I was like, man, this DDD has been strong. It's flagging on the daily, and then it's breaking the highs for the day, but then it ends up rolling. I don't know. I think the thing I don't like about it is back here, it hit 2172. And then right here, it hit 2178. So that was yesterday. It breaks this flag, right? It gets to new highs and then reverses. So I don't know. It may be worth putting on a chart, but I'm absolutely not in love with it. All right. Let me look at this BLPH real quick. I don't care about that one. All right. So BVPR is in my notes. I'm going to watch that one. Because it had that big spike, hit the 200-day, almost round trip, but then today it's kind of working its way back up. Plus, the whole number 2 might come into play. I actually like this VVPR. Yeah, I like it. Maybe like through 2 tomorrow. Again, I don't know how it's going to open, so we'll have to see. But I like this one. It's going on my watch list. And then TRPX is on my watch list because, wow, I saw this in after hours moving. It's actually trading at 540 right now. So it's trading all the way up here. So you had this pop here. I think this was being touted as another low-priced pot stock, right? And then people said, no, I don't think so. We're not buying it. And then today, and let me go to 5-minute candles here. Then today, it gets this strong close. I don't know what's behind this. Maybe it had news late day, right? And then in after hours, again, it's trading at 540. So this one's got to go on watch as a potential gap play tomorrow. And that's exactly what I'm putting on my watch list as a gap play. TRPX, and I'll put it as a potential gap play. All right, I've had a lot of beer, so I'm going to take a short break. I do not have my trading catheter in at this moment. If I did, I could, well, never mind. I was going to say I could turn on the webcam and give you guys tips on how to insert and remove a trading catheter, but you probably don't want to see that. So, all right, anyway, I don't have a trading catheter in right now, so I am actually going to go take a short break. And if you have any questions, shoot them, and I'll be back in a minute. Anyone still here? So is everyone that's here a chat room member? getting ready to go into my scanner now to find stocks to add to the list. All right, so the last stock I added was TRPX as a gapper. Again, trading at 5.5 right now in after hours. Okay, so now on my scans that I look for at the end of day, I call them end of day scans. Doug, I'll tell you what, I haven't traded over the counter in years, so I can't say with authority how they trade now. But back in the day when I traded them, when I was learning to trade and I didn't know the difference between over the counter and listed and blah, 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 right? Back in the day, I would get into something and then I would want to get out. It's moving in my favor even, right? And I would try to sell some even below the market and I wouldn't get filled. That's my memory of over-the-counter stocks. So like there's no regulation. They didn't have to fill me, so they didn't. Maybe it's better now, but anytime there's a stock that they can fill you or not fill you because there's no regulation, I don't want to get people in trouble. So, you know, I view it as you can hate me for it, but that's the difference between me and a lot of other chat room moderators. I don't want to get people. Again, they may have changed by now, but I doubt they have. I mean, I remember being like well under the market, just trying to unload a big position, and it just wouldn't fill. And then I'd watch the market come down and then go below where I was trying to sell some, and you know, I'm not doing it. All right. Anyway, so one of the scans I run every night is a stock that's been down at least 4 days in a row, and today is down more than 5%. So what that's going to do is find stocks that are already beaten up and then had an ugly day today, right? Looking for, even though if something's over the counter, I won't put it on watch. If that wasn't over the counter, I might be watching it for a bounce tomorrow, for what it's worth. But because the market's so strong, right now I'm kind of shying away from bounce plays and just trying to look for stocks that are strong. All right, so one of my scans is called Giant Movers. It just looks for stocks that had unusual volume and a big move. I'm going through those right now. I did a tweet about this ARCI today. There's a guy out there running a room that almost every chart he'll post, hey, I made $4,000 on this trade, and people, wow, I just got to get better like him. Almost all of them look like this, right? So the volume comes from him saying, hey, I'm in something. Everyone piles in, he dumps, and then this happens. I call it the facial hair and musical chairs room. Absolutely the biggest Wall Street scam out there, in my opinion. I would rather have Mojo over for a beer than this guy, but that's just me. A lot of times the biggest crooks come off as the nicest guys in the world. Anyway, RCI came up on that. Let's see, IGC. Talked about that one already. I already talked about I can't type tonight. SPHS. And then IPAS. I didn't talk about this one yet. That's another one, by the way. Right? I'm going to switch too many candles. And this thing actually interested me, right? Because it got a volume spike and the news sounded good, right? So this one interested me and it was just ripping. And this other chat room moderator in another room jumps in, I don't know where, right before the halt, probably 270. So if you're in a room and someone says, hey, I'm in IPAS at 270, and I'm guessing, I don't know where he jumped in, right before the halt, okay? Most people probably didn't get in because it halted right after that. So then while it's halted, he says, I'm going to add over 3 when it comes out of the halt. Now, see, someone like me who's been trading for years knows that's just complete bullshit that someone can say, I'm adding over the 3, right? It's halted, and he's telling people he's going to add over 3. So someone in our chat room said that he said he was going to add over 3. And I said, well, here's my theory. Is he's trying to get everybody to buy out of the halt. When it comes out of the halt, and you can see it opened at 294. I said, so what he's trying to do is get people to create volume right at or around 3 so he can dump his shares. So someone tells me he did add right when it came out of the halt, somewhere around, when it opened. And everyone's buying right at 3 or over 3, like he had said he was going to do. It goes up to 310, right? He dumped it all at 308. So when you tell a group of 3,000 or 2,000 people, however many people you've sold a $3,500 course to, that you're adding when this comes out of the halt, first of all, nobody knows what it's going to do out of a halt, just like nobody knows what something's going to do at the opening bell. You're just trying to create volume. So even if he added over 3 and then he dumps all at 308, let's go to 1-minute candles in case 2 isn't short enough for you. Let's go to 1-minute candles. So even if he adds when it comes out of the halt or adds at 3, right? Look at the volume. Look at that volume. That is all of his members being coerced to buy out of the halt. Think about that for a minute. 460,000 shares. I don't know how many shares he had, but he bought right before the halt so nobody could get in. He tells everybody while it's halted, I'm going to buy more over 3, and then he dumps it all at 308. This is a 1-minute candle, people. This is a 1-minute candle. Think about that. And then you talk about balls. Then he's got the balls to make a video and talk about how much he made. Bear with me. I might even look this up. I'm actually looking it up as I'm battling because when this thing's halted, it looks like this, right? He grabbed it right before the halt, tells everybody he's adding over 3 when it comes out of the halt, right? If I'm stuck in this and it's halted, I'm not giving advice for what the hell I'm going to do when it comes out of the halt. I don't know where it's going to come out. It might open down here, right? So the only reason to tell people you're adding out of the halt is to create volume. Hold on, I'm actually trying to look this up to see where my charlatan, see how much money he made on the trade. can't even find it. Anyway, I'm pretty sure it was several $1,000s, right? Because he coerced a bunch of people to buy it. Look at that volume. He dumps it all. I'm adding over 3. He dumps it all at 308. And then everyone says, oh shit. I bought it here because he told, oh shit. This is a 1-minute candle. There's a few more minutes later. If y'all don't see how wrong that is. Anyway, so then he makes a video. I made $4,000 on this trade, right? And you look at the comments, and everyone who had their ass handed to them, because I'm telling you, none of them got filled before the halt, maybe 1 or 2 of them. 30 or 40 of them bought up here when he told them to. And then, woo. Then you look at the comments on the video, because he's so open and sweet about it. I made $4,000. Okay, so he does that. And because he's so sweet, right? People blame themselves. They say, man, I just got to get better. When they don't know, they've just had their freaking wallet. Just had their wallet taken out of their back pocket. And they blame themselves. There's your answer. Logan said $4,304 on IPAS. Buying right before the halt, coercing a bunch of people to buy it right here, selling it all right here. These are 1-minute candles, people. And then everyone else gets their ass handed to them, right? And he's so slick about it. He's so slick about it that people don't even say, hey, you just robbed me. They say, man, I just got to be a better trader. Maybe I'll buy your course because I need to learn more. Maybe I'll buy all your special programs. So anyway, I know I come off like a dick when I talk about this, but it is crystal clear to me what's going on. And if I were new at trading, it wouldn't be crystal clear to me. I would be like, hey, that guy's just better than me. You can't take $4,000 out of a trade unless people collectively lost $4,000 to give you that money. And then some. Anyway. So of everybody out there who runs a room, Mojo, biggest prick I've ever met, right? Or met online. But nowhere near as dangerous as this guy. Nowhere near as corrupt as this guy. Mojo's an asshole, and he'll tell you he's an asshole. Right? This guy will rob you while smiling at your face and having you send him more money because you just need to get better and take his course. I'm not saying names. I've just never seen anything like it. And I feel like sometimes I'm the only one who calls it out. All right, anyway. Should have invited Wayne tonight so he could muzzle me, right? That's all I've got. I'm going to leave my list at that because there's plenty to watch. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll go back and watch, I'll run a scan for this giant mover scan, and then I'll go back and look at yesterday. I'll go back a few days real quick here. Daily charts. BRKS showed up. And these are stocks that had a huge move yesterday. And maybe are setting up for, another huge move. Go back another day. Whoops, cancel that. Top stock showing up. JMEI is kind of interesting. Had the big pop 3 days ago, then an inside day, and it's kind of curling back up. The whole number 2 might come into play. I'm going to add that to my list, JMEI. Just remember when you trade tomorrow that it is very thin out there right now. All right, I'm going to go back one more day because I've got a big enough list and see what showed up. SSC, which I've already got on the list, and then GERN. So I've already got those on the list too. So, all right. Any questions, complaints? Want to cuss me out? I'm here. I'm done building my list for tomorrow. I've still got to jump off here and put up the video for tomorrow. But just real quick, I probably need to announce these so I get a big crowd in here. But I just usually tweet them on a very short notice. Any questions or comments? If not, I'm going to meander off into the Florida sunset. If there are questions, I'm happy to take them. I'll wait a little bit. See, I saw a yes. I don't know if that means yes. I've got a question. See you, James. Yeah, I'm not, honestly, I'm not even sure how to announce these ahead of time. I should probably put a link in the chat room, but I usually do it like, hey, I've had dinner, I've had a couple drinks. I got to build my watch list still, so I'll go ahead and tweet it and do it live. I usually don't make the decision ahead of time. I'm not sure, Zine. I'm on the fence about that. I probably shouldn't leave it up because I've been slamming what other people do out there, and I know that just makes me look ugly. I don't do it out of competition spirit. I don't spend a dime on advertising. If I was money hungry, I would advertise and you'd see my face everywhere, but you can't come off as anything other than a jerk when you're talking about another room and pointing out what somebody may or may not be doing. So I probably won't keep this one up. But I'm happy to post the next one live, and give a heads up. Hey, I'm going to build a watch list live. Anybody dispute anything? Anybody want to, before I leave? Anybody want to dispute anything I said tonight? Because that's a debate I can handle. I would debate anybody on the planet about anything I've asserted tonight. Zena, thank you. I appreciate that. Again, I don't advertise. It's sort of a tight-knit community. Been doing this since 2004, which I kind of think back then it was like Pristine and us, right? There's a ton of rooms now. And I know a little bit about everything that's out there, but I am really proud of what we do. I'm proud of the fact that I would teach safety first. I would teach defense first over anything. There's rooms out there that are huge gamblers. So, some new room just came public, which somebody texts me all the time about it. I have no idea. I just know they're a bunch of young cocky guys, and they've been posting huge profits for months, and making fun of chat rooms, saying if you can't trade, then you run a chat room. taking shots at people like me because I do run a chat room, but I still trade. And then next thing you know, they start their own room. And I like the first day, the guy lost $18,000 or something. They called it a paper cut. The chat room opens generally 7:50-ish every day. If you're having trouble getting in, shoot me an email. I mean, there's no reason you should have trouble getting in. Somebody shot me an email today that was having trouble, and I emailed them back. I don't know if that was you or not. A lot of times what happens is people don't get my emails because it's in their spam folder, or somebody emailed me and I couldn't discern if they were having trouble getting into the member page, or once you're on the member page, there's a link to the chat room. A lot of people tell me I downloaded HotCom, but now I can't find your room. You always have to get in the room. Okay. The only way in the room is clicking the chat room button on the member page. Even if you've downloaded HotCom, don't open HotCom and then try to find the room. That will not work. So if you can get on the member page and you can see the chat room button and you click it and then it still doesn't open, did you get my email? I sent you an email back that told you to contact Kathy at HotCom. All right, you've got the only way in the chat room is clicking the button on the member page. And if you've done that and it still won't open, make sure you contact Kathy. They'll get you in. The customer support for the chat room is great. You keep saying it's thin out there. Is there an indicator to show you how thin the market is? How can you tell? I understand that it's summertime. Okay, that's a good question. When you've traded for years, you can tell how thin it is, right? You start to see gaps between intraday 5-minute candles, and you know it's thin, right? And you can look at the SPY volume. So there's many ways, but I mean it's just absolutely thin. When there's no follow through in anything, you just know it's thin out there. I see great setups that move up 5-6 cents and then right back to the entry, and I'm back out. So. And again, look at the SPY volume. It's really dead out there. You're welcome. And again, follow up and let me know if you're having trouble getting in. We'll get you in, I promise. Yeah, volume should pick up the second week of September. We got a 3-day weekend coming up. So this is an August week before a 3-day weekend. And then next week is a 4-day week attached to a 3-day weekend. So I'm thinking after that, if I had to give you, when the volume will pick up, but you've got to recognize summer trading is thin and you have to cut your position size down or not trade at all. I bet you I'm averaging 2 trades a day this week so far. Maybe three. And that's not counting scaling out, but I'm talking about 3 actual setups a day. And I see people in chat middle of lunchtime, middle of late August, and still making calls and posting 25 ideas a day. That's insane. And so I'm always trying to squash the clutter in the room, and I think some people are like posting so much they're getting other people to overtrade. Any other questions? If not, you can always shoot me an email. I'll put my email in here. Any thoughts on crypto? I have no thoughts on crypto and Bitcoin. None at all. I know a guy who was touting Bitcoin at 19,000, right? I said, what are you going to do? You're talking all these people into investing into Bitcoin. I said, what are you going to do if Bitcoin tanks from here? And his answer was, ain't going to happen. Something like that. I'm paraphrasing, but it was something like, ain't going to happen. And that's when I knew Bitcoin was near its top, right? So Bitcoin has kind of attracted the I just want easy money crowd. And a lot of people made a killing if they were in it early, right? But now I just have no opinion on it whatsoever. I think most of the crowd that's in it. I saw a video of Mojo, who'd bought like 47 servers and had an outbuilding on his property to mine Bitcoins. I have no idea what that even means, how to mine Bitcoins, but that's when I knew Bitcoin was in trouble. Anyway, some other famous guy said it was going to 1 million. I mean, stuff like that to me, when everybody and their mother thinks it's easy money, then you should probably shy away. But I don't know what Bitcoin's going to do. I don't care about it. Zena, it depends how much work you put in, honestly, but it's a longer process than most people will tell you. I was a slow learner. I had to go through a lot of pain, and I hate to say this, but the best teacher in the market is actually pain. I can tell you over and over to never average down, right? And you'll say, hey, Mike says never average down, so I won't. And then one time you're going to take a trade trying to bottom fish a stock, and you're going to buy 1,000 shares, and you're going to think you caught the dead bottom, and then the bottom's going to drop out of that bottom, and you're going to be paralyzed and say, well, I can't take the loss now. I'm already down $1,000. It dropped another dollar. You know what I can do? I can buy 2,000 more now, right? Lower my average. It was already, I felt like it was cheap $1 ago. Now I want to buy 2,000 and so on. And before you know it, that stock doesn't have a bottom and your entire account's gone, right? Or at least the vast portion of it. And then you're going to say, damn, Mike was right. I shouldn't average down. So I teach people not to average down from experience. And I understand human nature. HMNY is a good example. Cheap can get cheaper and so on, blah, blah. Every other, trading term you've ever heard or phrase or lesson you've ever heard. I don't teach people not to average down because I heard you're not supposed to. I teach that because I've averaged down and then averaged down some more and averaged down some more. And next thing you know, my entire account plus margin is tied up and it kept falling. And I had no other choice but to hit out of the stock. So I had some money left. All right. And I've endured that pain, and I've endured it double digits, at least 10 times. So if anyone watches me trade now and you think, hey, this guy is overly cautious, it's from those experiences. So some people can hear me say a story like this, and they can say, you know what? I believe this guy. I've read his story. I know what he's been through. I know he worked his way off an assembly line from a laptop and an air card, 2 decades on the assembly line of General Motors, right? And he's probably seen it all. And so I'm gonna honor what he's teaching me, and I'm never gonna average down, right? But most people are still gonna do it until they learn themselves the hard way. And there's no better teacher. Nothing I can say will teach you better than getting your ass handed to you. Then hopefully you have enough left or some source to earn money to get your account built back up to where you can actually trade for a living. But there's nothing I can say that's going to be as powerful as getting your ass handed to you. So to answer your question, Zena, it depends on the person. Was it Solomon? A wise man learns from his own mistakes, but a genius learns from the mistakes of others. So if you're one of those people, if you're a genius, and you can listen to somebody who's been down this road and learn from my mistakes and never have to do it yourself, then you're way ahead of the game. Does that make sense? But it took me longer than it should have. And, maybe having a decent paying job, you could argue maybe was a curse, because I could blow up my account and then I could just work 60 to 70 hour weeks, overtime, time and a half, double time, on Sundays, if they would give it to me, and then build my account back up. Meanwhile, making sure to feed my family. That came first, right? So it all depends on the person. But I did many, many, many stupid things. And it really took me to the last few years to where I really felt like I was qualified to teach people, right? It really took me to let that sink in. It took me to the last few years to where I finally said, you know what? To where I finally realized I understand this game better than 99% of people. Like, I still didn't have enough confidence that I should be teaching people because I'd done so many stupid things. So even though I had corrected most of those stupid things, I never really felt qualified to teach people until maybe a few years ago. And then I realized I wasn't the only one who did all those stupid things. Everybody does that, right? It took me years to realize that. And once I realized everyone goes through that, now I can say what I say with authority and know in my heart that everyone else has gone through it too. And I know I'm not blowing smoke because I lived it, right? But it's amazing how long it took me to where I felt like, hey, I should be teaching this, right? It took me years. And Zena, honestly, trading is the hardest thing I've ever done. And what's going to separate professional traders from everybody else, if nothing else, is keeping your losses small. I know it sounds cliche, and you hear every trader say it. And one thing that I think is not talked about enough, and I think I mentioned it in my video last night, my watch list video last night, is the entry. Learning to enter a stock so you're green right away, right at an inflection point on a recent high flyer, right? With 2 or 3 catalysts just above, so they're like dominoes ready to fall. If you can sit in cash, and unless and until you see a setup like that, so you take a trade and you're green right away. I mean, there's no better feeling. And then you can sell some, tighten your stop on the rest. Most people can't do that. They feel like they always got to be in something. So I think that's what, if I had to pick one thing, that's what turned my trading around more than anything, is stalking and waiting for the proper entry. I hated taking a stock and being red right away. So, for me, that was the puzzle, right? Like, how can I get in a stock? When should I get in a stock that I can be green right away, start scaling out, tighten up my stop, and then hopefully get the home run on, maybe my final third or something. But defense first, no matter what. I mean, it's such a huge puzzle. It took me years to put it together. And you know what? I know a lot of people think I'm really hard on certain other people that run rooms, right? But the reason I am is because I remember like it was yesterday, the first day I started trading. I remember it. So you don't think I know when somebody Googles day trading, or somebody's on YouTube and looks up day trading videos, or somebody's on StockTwits or Twitter and they're looking up anything to do with trading and they see the same frickin' face pop up in front of them. I turned 500 into 300,000 in 5 minutes, right? Or whatever it is, 3 months, whatever it is. Of course, that's going to be my guy. Of course it is. I'm new to trading, and some guy with a really sweet, effeminate voice is telling me he turned literally $500 into 150,000 or whatever in a month. Why the hell would I follow anybody but that guy, right? His ads are everywhere. So that's why I'm so passionate about it. Because I know what happens to those people. They click on the ad, then they're told to buy STAF or whatever stock, whatever crappy symbol, as it's already run up 50% in the last 5 minutes. And he's dumping to them. I already showed you the chart today, right? Of the one. And then they blame themselves. I just got to get better. Think about that. That's why I'm so passionate. But I understand. I don't look at somebody who falls for that. I don't look at somebody and say, wow, what a moron. I look at myself. I said, that's exactly what I would have done. I would have bought that guy's course. I would have joined his chat room, and I would have chased every stock he called because his stats are amazing. And then that evening, I'm going to watch his video. He made 4,000. I lost 1,200. What the hell is wrong with me? I just got to get better. See, but now that I've been through the game and I understand what goes on, it's pure criminal. And I can't help but think how many people that clicked on that stupid face of his, right? And joined and paid $3,500 for a course and then lost another $1,200 the first morning after they signed up. And then they blame themselves. How many people could have maybe somehow stumbled upon me and learned from Wayne and I and actually learned to trade? So that's why it sickens me, because I could have easily been one of those people. I mean, I signed up for everyone who was claiming everything. I just fought my way through it and had a real job. I was able to just build up my account again and promise my wife, this time it's different. Blow up my account again. This time it's different. Blow up my account again. This time it's different. Till I finally realized, no. First of all, it's all about the entering at the right time, not chasing. Inflection point, 2 or 3 catalysts above, scaling out, protecting my entry. It's really a fairly simple equation, but it still takes hours and hours and hours of screen time, right? So then I get sick thinking how many people will never, ever learn how to trade or never, ever get the life that I have. And believe me, the great thing about my life isn't the money, it's the freedom. I used to wake up at 4:30 in the morning, and I never went to bed before 12 or 1 in the morning. In my family, I was always the last one in bed. And the reason I was the last one in bed, and tell me if you can relate to this, the reason I was the last one in bed is because I worked my ass off all day, and I knew the minute I fell asleep, boom, I'm awake, the alarm goes off, well, let me rephrase that. The alarm goes off, I'm awake, and I got to go do it all again. So I would stay up till 12 or 1 watching TV because I just couldn't bear the thought of falling asleep, and next thing you know, I'm back on the assembly line, right? So for 20 years, I was the last one in my house, wife and 3 kids, last one asleep, first one awake. I think I have a 15-year window that I don't freaking remember because I was so tired all the time. Right? So then I finally overcome everything, become a day trader, and then I see clowns like this coercing people and literally destroying lives, in my opinion, because these are all people that are just like me. They just say, hey, you know what? Day trading could be good. Well, look at this guy. Look what he's done. Then they put on a credit card, $3,500 on the service. They have whatever they have in savings to trade. They blow that out immediately because this jackass is teaching them to chase. And they're done. And all of these people, if it wasn't for this guy, may have actually found somebody like me or somebody else that would have actually taught them to trade. So people that think I'm a dick for being so passionate about this, that I just summed up to you right there why. It's criminal. And I think of all these lives that could have been better had they found the right guy. Now, I'm not telling you I'm the Holy Grail, but I am telling you I will teach you to be defensive and to look for proper entries, right? with potential catalysts above, and to no matter what, protect your capital. Meanwhile, this jackass, I'm long XYZ, and it's already up 50% in the last 5 minutes. So anyway, I probably should have recorded some of this and put it out there, but I'm going to quit babbling. I'm sure my wife's getting ready to lose her mind. And I've still got to make a video tonight. So I apologize for my babbling. Most of you who are in chat have heard me a million times, but hopefully if you sat through my ramble tonight, you at least have a better understanding of why I am the way I am. And it'd be different. It'd be different if the people if the guy or the several people, whatever, in these ads that pop up everywhere and make these claims, it would be different if they didn't know they were destroying trading careers before they ever had a chance. But I promise you, at least the guy I'm talking about, smart enough to know. He absolutely knows it. That's what pisses me off about him. I promise you he knows it. He'll never admit it, maybe even to himself, but I promise you he knows it. He's too smart not to know it. So you read the disclaimer. Don't follow me. You have to develop your own method. Don't follow me. You know, the disclaimer has him covered every way from Sunday, as far as, you know, what his attorneys told him to put in there. But if you don't think he knows what he's doing, and you don't think he knows where his $4,000 came from today in that one trade, you're wrong. I promise you you're wrong. He knows exactly where that money came from. It came from everybody who bought his course and was in his chat room and then chased his bullshit call. Oh, I'm getting long here, over 3 after it comes out of the halt. That's not trading. That's coercing. And if you think he doesn't know where that $4,000 came from, and it's not even, he doesn't need the $4,000. He doesn't need that money. I bet he makes $1 million a year. He doesn't need that money. But you know what that money represents? Anyone want to guess why that big gain is important to him? It's not the money. Let me rephrase it. It's not the money from that trade that it represents. Anyone want to guess why that big gain is important to him? He doesn't need that $4,000. He's got $4,000 laying in his couch cushions. Fell out of his pocket. Anybody? Exactly. It's a carrot. It's more subs. Exactly. You put out that tweet. You put out that video. I made $4,000 on this trade. That's another 20 subs tonight. That's exactly it. And the cycle never ends. Except that everyone who blew up today or will blow up over the following week, those are people that'll never even hear of me. So I could easily make the argument that, yes, I am a little, not jealous isn't the right word, because I would never do what he's doing, but I am a little bitter because I actually have something to offer people, and I'll never get that chance. All right, Gil, I'm sorry for babbling. The $4,000 trade wasn't me. It was some charlatan. Anyway, I got to go. I'm sorry. I got to go. I've still got to make a video, and I'll see most of you tomorrow in chat. And I appreciate everybody showing up. And hope you all have a great night.